by telling you a couple of stories from the oral tradition. And the oral tradition, I said, was very important because it wasn't until the 5th century that we began to get any form of writing. It was only with Christianity that the monks of the Christian church began to write down the legends. So until that time, there was only the spoken word. So, and then in our more recent past, let's say go back 200 years, Irish people weren't allowed to learn to read or write. And it's political control. If you can't read my message, then I can't spread my propaganda. So there's been a great interest in learning in Ireland, but there's also an awful lot of times we depended on the spoken word. Now, some of the stories go right back to our early mythological past. And I want to tell you one story that's kind of old and one story that's kind of new. And the story I want to tell you that comes from a very old tradition. It's known as the mythological cycle. And if ever you get into Irish mythology, make sure you've got a lifeline on you because it gets deep very quickly. The story I want to tell you is a story of Balor of the Evil Eye. Now, the times that I'm talking about, there were two main peoples in Ireland. There were the Tuatha De Danann, the Tuatha De Danann that I mentioned earlier. And they were the people of good, the forces of light. And of course, wherever you have a force of good, you'll also have a force of evil. And they were the Fomorians. And Balor happened to be one of them. And as a boy, he was walking through the castle where he lived. He heard a sound behind the door and he was curious. He looked through the keyhole, and there he saw the druids practicing their art. There was a mighty explosion, and the spell of death flew through the keyhole and into his eye. And ever after, anything he looked at with that eye was instantly destroyed. Hence the name Balor of the Evil Eye. Now, as you grew to manhood, the eyelid got. Folks, can we just make this coming over? Yeah. As you grew to manhood, the eyelid got heavier and heavier and heavier. So much so that by the time he had become king of the Fomorians, the eyelid was so heavy that in order to open it, he had a gold ring inserted in the eye. And it required the strength of his three strongest servants, attaching ropes to the ring and hauling up on those ropes whenever he wanted to release the power of the eye. And this is why the Fomorians held sway so long. In battle, Balor simply drew his time right, unleashed the power of the eye, and decimated his enemies. Happy days. Well, happy days as long as you were Fomorian, that is. Now, he had one daughter, a daughter called Ethelyn, and it had been foretold to him that he would be killed by his own grandson. And so that the prophecy wouldn't come true, he had Ethelyn moved to the island of Tory off the northwest Donegal coast. There he built a crystal tower, installing Ethelyn in the tower. Sorry folks, are we okay? It'll be too hot, too cold?
I'm always hot.
Okay.
Very hot.
What? Yeah, see, there's noise going on. I said, do you want to move over to... Can I move the phone somewhere?
It's fine, keep going.
What? Okay. Back to Balor. He had one daughter, a daughter called Ethelyn, and it had been foretold to him, as I say, that he would be killed by his own daughter. And in order to save her, he had moved her to Tory, the northwest Donegal coast. He built that crystal tower, installing it on her edge, surrounding her with ladies in waiting, with soldiers to guard her, protect her, and more importantly, to make sure that no man came near. If no man came near, then the prophecy of being killed by his grandson couldn't come true. And he went off about his business, which included cattle raiding. And he stole a very valuable cow of a man called Cian, a member of the Tuatha De Danann. Well, you can imagine Cian's reaction. He was furious. He enlisted the help of the druidess Spira. She cast a spell, putting the ladies in waiting and soldiers into a deep trance, enabling Cian to get to the island. He arrived on the island, he saw the crystal tower, he was curious. He climbed the tower, and there he met Ethelyn. Fell in love, were secretly married, and within the year, she had given birth to 3 babies. 3 boys, 3 grandsons, 3 possibilities of the prophecy coming true. Well, you can imagine Balor's reaction. He was enraged. He got 3 baskets, and put one of the babies in each of the baskets, and floated them out to sea to be drowned. 2 of them were drowned, but one was rescued by Birog and taken back to the lands of the Tuatha De Danann, and there raised his mother. And his name was Lú Lá Fada. And in Irish, Lá Fada means long hand or long arm. And he was called that because of a particular skill, the skill with the slingshot. He could take the eye off a flea at 100 yards. Okay, 80 yards, that's not hard. Now he grew to manhood, and he became the leader of the army of the Tuatha De Danann. And one day he went to the king and demanded the right to lead the army of the Tuatha Dé Danann against the Fomorians, to once and for all rid them of the yoke of Fomorian domination. The wish was granted, and the great battle of Moitura, which took place up near Sligo, on one side of the valley, the Fomorians, with Balor of the evil Laird. The other side of the valley, the Tuatha Dé Danann, with the Open. And the battle started, and like all battles, it raged from one side of the valley to the other all day long, with neither side gaining any significant advantage, until late in the day, Balor judged the time just right to unleash the power of the eye. He summoned the servants, the ropes were attached, and they began hauling up with those ropes. Now, you know, if you kept your eye closed for any length of time, it takes a while to focus. And as Balor was trying to focus the gaze of the eye, there were rocks exploding over here, trees bursting into flames over there, whole regiments of men being mowed down, and all the time, the gaze of the eye was seeking out young Lugh on the far side of the valley. Lugh remained motionless, except for the slingshot. Faster and faster and faster. You can see the trail of destruction getting ever nearer and nearer and nearer. At the very last moment, Lugh let go of the slingshot, straight and through, hitting Balor in the eye, hitting him with such force that it convinced him. More than that, it drove the eye out through the back of his head. And now the gaze of the eye isn't falling on the Tuatha Dé Danann, but falling back on his own men, the Fomorians. The Fomorians are routed, the Tuatha Dé Danann are victorious, and after many more adventures, young Lugh was on control. Mad story, but some of the themes that are in there you might just have recognised. Where have you come across baby in a basket, he floated out in water? Young hero slays evil giant with slingshot. Goliath. It was recently pointed out that that story is actually the same as Star Wars. That Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, it's the same story except the relation to the son and son